As yoga teachers, I know so many of us want to make sure we're saying the right things in class. We want to make sure our cues land well in everybody's body. But the reality is they won't. And the reality is there's not one cue that will rule them all for all bodies. A good teacher knows this and knows what to do and what to say that will ensure supportive sequencing, cueing, and language in our classes. And that's what we're going to talk about here. What are the 3 cues, I've narrowed it down, if possible, to 3 cues that you can say no matter what, whatever the body, whatever the type, whatever the style of yoga you're doing, that you can say in your classes. Now, the thing to remember is that there actually isn't one cue, as I said, to rule them all. And you might have done a teacher training, you might have come from a yoga lineage or style tradition where you were taught this is what you say for Trikonasana, this is what you say for Virabhadrasana 1, 2, and 3, no matter the student, no matter the day. But in reality, good, effective teaching and accessible and supportive teaching means that we know what to say to all bodies. And there really isn't going to be one set of cues that are going to be appropriate for all bodies. So then what do we do? What do we say? How do we approach this? As somebody who's been teaching since 2003, again, as I always mention, I've taught thousands of classes, I've been doing this for pretty much most of my adult life. And believe me, I have learned the hard way and the long way to come to this place of recognizing, how do I teach in a way, what are the cues that I can say that are helpful for all bodies? And for me as a teacher, that for 10 years in, I started to go, okay, wait a second. These cues aren't working for everybody. So that led me into focusing more on an anatomy-informed approach, learning more about anatomy. And that anatomy-informed approach gave me a lot more confidence over time to say less as a teacher, to say some cues that are going to be pretty amazing for everybody, and to let go of what a pose should look like, and to let go of what a pose, how it should be in anybody's body, and instead teach from this place of functional, supportive kind movement and accessible, inclusive languaging. Okay, so that's kind of the preamble. I just want to give us a little bit of a background and context for this, because I think if you talk to some other yoga teachers who come from a more regimented, rigid lineage, it's like, well, no, this is what you say. But the body is dynamic, the body is different, all bodies are different. And when we know that and come from that place, and when we understand human movement, it informs so much of this. So we're not going to talk, I'm not going to give you in this conversation any clear anatomical cues. This is actually big picture teaching here. So learn more about the human body and movement here with Heart and Bones, of course, and other people who teach movement and applied anatomy for yoga asana and movement. To get those more specific, encouraging cues, the dynamic cues, action cues that really support all bodies. But in the big picture, you want to really say this one cue first. Notice how that feels in your body. I love this cue so much because it's a question. So a lot of the times the cues that we give or have been taught are very directive, right? They're very, do this, do that. And there's an absolute time and place. Most of my classes will absolutely have directive cues. But then that's often followed by this cue. Notice how that feels in your body. Because I'm directing people into a position or a shape or an experience, coupled with autonomy, asking people to notice, well, how does that feel? Gives them the reflection and the power back to them. And then they get to learn and have this practice of going, actually, you know what? That didn't feel so good in my body. What if I tried this? So we're giving and offering a space of autonomy, and that teaching hierarchy becomes less of a hierarchy and more of a conversation together. You don't have to be that hierarchical teacher that's, yes, do this with your body. This is the only cue. Fit yourself into this. Instead, you get to, as a teacher, then go, hey, I'm going to offer something to you. Try this out in your body. Notice how it feels. It's such a powerful cue. And another reason why that's such a powerful cue is because many of us, we live in a world that has taught us to be disconnected from our body, disconnected from sensation, disconnected, disassociated. So when people come into a physical yoga practice, then they get to learn that opportunity to remember what it feels like to be connected, to feel mind-body connected and going, oh yeah, right, my body knows things, right? My body has wisdom. And when I tune in and I'm asked, how does that feel? Then I'm learning to feel again and rebuild that connection. So my goodness, my friends, so if that's the only cue we ever really say, what an amazing cue. And then we're teaching yoga. So, right, downward dog, trikonasana, whatever, how does that feel in your body? That's when it's yoga. That's when it's not just a movement practice. So the second cue that I think works for everybody, that aside from, again, an anatomical cue, is relax your jaw, relax your forehead. Relax your shoulders. Any of these body parts, we're not telling the body parts to move in a certain way. It's actually just bringing attention and awareness into habitual tension patterns. I love that so much because, again, it doesn't matter what kind of style of yoga you teach. It doesn't matter who's in your class. It's probably going to be pretty darn relevant to remind people to check in to where they're holding tension. And so then you're helping them build that pattern of awareness. Oh, right. Oh, man, I was clenching my jaw in that pose. Oh, yeah, my shoulders were up to my ears when I was trying to balance. Okay, now what does it feel like to soften? Because the second follow-up of that cue, notice if you're holding tension in your jaw, is, okay, soften your jaw. Oh, there was tension. So there was layers of awareness. Layer one, oh, I was holding tension in my jaw. Cool. Layer two, oh, soften the jaw. That's what it feels like. Right, super simple, super universal. Most of the time we're all gonna benefit from being reminded, okay, soften my forehead, soften my jaw, my belly, right? Anywhere, hips, anywhere we have these habitual tensions. Love that cue. And then the third cue that's gonna work and is really important in my humble opinion is feel your feet. Especially obviously when we're in standing poses. And this goes back to the one of soften your jaw, soften the shoulders. It's that rebuilding connection and awareness to our body. Right? So when we're inviting people to notice how it feels to stand in your feet, not on your feet, in your feet, right? Feeling the feet connected to the ground. It's so powerful because so much of us are connected to our thoughts. We get most of the day, right? We're lost in our thoughts. We're in the past, we're in the future, we're in worry, we're in all the things. But when we can come into awareness of the feet, it connects us back into the grounded sense of the body. It can connect us back into the grounded sense of being part of the land that we're on. Even though, of course, in a yoga studio, we're not technically on the land. We are connected to the earth. So when we really bring attention to the feet, it grounds us in the body and it anchors us to the land, to the earth. So these three things seem really small, right? It's not knee over your ankle, externally rotate your thigh, blah, blah, blah. Like the cues that we will and should still say, right? But these are three reflective cues that aim to embody the heart of this yoga practice, this ancient wisdom tradition gifted to us from India. That's how we keep this a living tradition and making it relevant for us. Because as a teacher, it's our job for sure to help invite movement experiences. Most of us are teaching yoga asana, and different movements. So we're bringing a movement experience so that we can feel better in our bodies. But the yoga comes alive when we bring awareness with it. So how does that feel in your body? Soften your shoulders, soften your jaw, soften your blank, fill in the blank. And feel your feet connected to the earth. Feel your awareness anchored and rooted to the ground. So powerful. So I hope this helps give you a little bit more ease when you go into your next class. You don't have to say 100 million cues. You can just trust You're offering a deeper awareness practice, the deeper awareness of yoga and mindfulness. So if this is helpful, leave a comment, let me know. I love hearing your feedback.